All right. It is Monday and it is sprint planning time. So my name is ER Wolf. I'm joined by my partner, Guy Toole, and we're going to be talking about sprint planning this week in LFI. And really, we are firm believers that you have to have a plan or make a plan, put that plan down in writing, and then execute that plan if you want to see results. And you're better off breaking your big plans down into sizable chunks that you can accomplish, right? And so in our terms, we're looking at what is the next week, or let's say 5 business days, going to look like for you. And then after you've identified that, let's just get laser focused on taking 1/5 of that, 20% of that at a time into sizable chunks. So Guy, you and I have been talking about this. I know it's this topic that we spend about 20% of our time talking with everybody about each and every week, which is make your plan, right? You got to have a plan. You got to prepare to execute that plan. And then if you've done those things, you can expect to achieve the accomplishment of successfully accomplishing your plan. So I don't know if you have anything to add on to that. Otherwise, we can sort of talk about some planning strategies, revenue generating activities, method of operation, etc.
I have really nothing to add to that. It really is that simple from the aspect of setting your week up, setting your goals, making sure that I'm working to achieve those goals.
Yeah.
Like if I just put it on paper, if I think about it and I never take any action, I mean, what value is that for me? It's really just a wish, a hope, a dream. Well, why not live those wishes and hopes and dreams and do action? We talk about it. We hear people in other conversations talk about speaking with a great grandparent or a grandparent, and it's coming to the end of life, or what did you learn? What would you have done different? And a lot of people say, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have slept less. I wish I would have taken that shot. Well, live the wish. Like, learn from those examples. Learn that, if it means I need to pick up the phone, have a conversation, drive somewhere to meet with someone for a potential business deal, I do it. I don't put it off. We are ones that will drop whatever we're doing, at that point, for a lot of people within our network, to have a conversation, to say, hey, I'm here to support you in your goals, your wishes, your dreams, because they happen to be a part of ours as well. We're here to support each and every one of you, hopefully each and every individual within the world, to say that there is a simpler way to achieve your goals. And it has to start with getting it written down and having a direction that you want to go, implementing and taking action, right? And educating. If I don't know what to do, I educate myself just enough to be dangerous enough to know what I'm doing. Yeah. Right. I go off and I learn the education of every element that we provide within our application and why it brings value. Yeah. And so many people still don't understand the value that they can be bringing to the network, to the population. Like there's an extreme amount of value that can be brought with small solutions that address 90% of what people need.
So true, guys. So true. And going along those lines, it's those small little things that make forward progress, whether it's the technology you're leveraging or the action that you're taking. And I really think that that's the key when we talk about sprint planning on a weekly basis. And Guy, I know this is something that's redundant for us because we do it each and every week. In fact, you and I are sit down on Sundays, get our plan for the week, talk about it before we're even on this call. And this call is more representative of a reminder to everybody else to be doing that same process or following that same methodology. And you mentioned it. I mean, really, we don't manage our time, we prioritize it. And we prioritize it based on the things that we want to achieve. So ask yourself today, if you're listening to this, what do I want to achieve? And think on that for 1 second. What do I want to achieve this week? Is it getting a new customer? That's a great milestone for every business. If you're consistent in getting new customers, you're making progress in your business. I'd call that a revenue generating activity every time you get a new customer. Likewise, where do those customers come from? They come from the prospecting activities that you've been doing with your leads. So in addition to having a goal for the week of maybe getting a customer, and you ask yourself, like, how many customers am I capable of getting this week? And it's going to be unique to all of us. If you're new, if this is your first time going out there and trying to do marketing and sales for your new venture, maybe you're a new LFI affiliate, getting a new customer and just one of them may be the first big milestone. If you've been doing this for a while, maybe you're out there and you get a few customers every single day, and you're just really trying to focus on beating yesterday's number, right? I got 20 customers yesterday. I need to hit 21 today. Again, it's going to be based on your individual goals and your individual a vision of what you want to achieve this week. But customers is one of those things. Prospecting, right? Maybe you have to interact or follow up with half a dozen of your prospects in order to generate a customer. So if you want to get 3 new customers, you've got to be out there talking to like 18 people. Again, these are all things that we can quantify, look at, map out, and then execute on. And again, it goes back to the number one thing of success for all of this is execution. It's action, taking action on the activities that are going to lead down those things that you want to achieve for this week. Maybe in order to be prospecting, you have to generate new leads. Where are you going to go generate new leads at this week? Again, these are things that can be on our schedules each and every day or each and every week, that if we continue down that pattern or that cycle, if we're consistent on going out and generating leads each and every week, or ideally each and every day, and you think about this, what Guy was saying, you chip away at that in small, sizable chunks. I'm going to spend, let's say an hour every single day, and you block it out, time block it out. I'm going to spend an hour generating leads. Then you list out on your thing, where can I go to generate leads at? Maybe you're generating leads in real life by being at the coffee shop and you're just sort of networking while you're there. Maybe there's an offline networking event that you're going to, or maybe it's a chamber event, or maybe it's a trade show. What do you have going on this week offline that are going to be lead generating activities for you? List those out. Make it a priority that you attend those events, right? Taking action is the number one thing. Getting in the car and driving to that networking event is the action you need to start taking. Walking in the door and talking to people is the actions that you need to be taking, right? What are you going to do online? There's plenty of leads you can generate online this week. Have you spent any time on LinkedIn this week connecting with potential individuals? Guy, I know just from our own personal standpoint, we have daily interaction with people we meet on LinkedIn, or on Facebook, or on Twitter, or on Instagram, or on any one of these other social areas where there are hundreds of thousands, millions, and even billions of individuals all interacting. That's where your customers are. So you've got to generate some leads this week. Make a list. Make a mental note right now, then put it down in writing. How many leads am I going to generate this week? And then make it realistic for you. For some of you, maybe you have to generate 100 leads this week, and you do it consistently each and every week. Maybe for some of you hearing my voice, you want to generate 3 new leads this week. And that would be a huge win if you could just generate 3 new leads. Maybe this is all new to you, and you would just get over the hurdle if you generated 1 new lead. Again, you have to make the goal first, make the plan to achieve that, and then go out and execute on that plan. So set the bar to something that you're going to achieve. Same thing with your customers, same thing with your prospecting, same thing with everything. If you're building out content to market or sell yourself or your product, have you identified some time where you're going to sit there and dial it in, and you're going to be laser focused? Again, we want to be intentional with our time this week. That's what sprint planning is all about. We all have the same amount of time, 24 hours each day. Some of us are just more intentional with how we're using our time and what we're getting out of that time investment than others. And our goal here is to show you that if you effectively prioritize your time and identify where those priorities are and remind yourself of those priorities on a consistent basis and are consistent about taking action on the activities that lead to accomplishing those priorities, you're going to make forward progress. At the end of the day, that's what all of this is about. How do I make forward progress from where I'm at right now to where I'm going to be at 5 days from now? And we don't have to get more complex than that. Why? Because we're going to be back here again, in 7 days doing it all over again. So we don't have to worry about next week at all. We don't have to worry about next month, guys. This is the end of the first half of the year. So let's focus on finishing the first half of the year to the best of our ability and not worry about what's going to happen after June. Let's focus on doing that, because we know every 6 months we're going to come back. We're going to review our spot check, our wheel of life. Where are we at right now? We're going to redo our plan for where we're going so we can finish the year strong. But we want to be focused and intentional this week on making forward progress this week and then making those micro adjustments. So, Guy, I don't know if you have anything to add on that. I know we've got a few other people on. I'm going to throw the question out here for anybody watching, whether it's Brenda, Jay, Shelly, put it in the chat, raise your hand. What do you want to achieve this week? That's the question. That's the theme for today's sprint planning. What do you want to achieve this week? So take a second to think on that. Make a note down. I want to achieve X, Y, Z, right? I want to achieve winning each day this week. That's a huge goal, right? What if you could win the next 5 days, meaning you execute on your plan and you get a majority of those activities done? Guy, one of the things I was thinking about, and I continually think on this, and I think about my wife, she strikes through each day on her calendar as she goes through. So if you look back at my wife's calendar, you'll see a bunch of squares with strike throughs, right? And she's just got this great momentum going. She's on a winning streak. And I always think to that person who's just got a bunch of blank squares on the calendar, right? They've never struck through one of those. My goal for you this week is to strike through the day, accomplish what you plan for just 1 day this week, and then do it again the next day and the next day. We truly have to get started taking action somewhere. And here's the reality. Today, if you're listening to this, if you're on this call, today is the day you get a reset, you get a restart, you get to go out as if it's square one and start making momentum. And it starts by just winning today. So doing your plan is a win. Making your follow-up phone calls is a win. Going out and generating some leads today is a win. Being intentional and focused on converting into a new customer is a win. Maybe you're being super intentional about identifying team members this week, and you're going to call 3 potential team members today. Make that a win. Strike through the day with the W, then look at the next day and just take it 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, whatever you need to do to amp yourself in that moment and start making forward progress. Then get into that momentum. Get one box checked off, the next box checked off, the next box checked off. And I can guarantee you, as you start seeing the strike throughs, you'll be more empowered and invigorated to lean in and continue to check off on those activities.
I think to add to this, there's so much that we've always talked in the past, and I think it might be something that's put to the side because sometimes we just don't talk about it so much. But you already mentioned that AMP process, attitude, moment, process, inspiration. Like these are things that we have to do for ourselves every day to get going. We talk about getting the plan set and advancing it and moving it forward and what that looks like. Decide what you want. So one thing that I've started to do is over the weekends, I turn my phone off and turn the TV off, and I just think. And things, it's amazing what things come to, ideas that can happen. And it's okay being bored. I've learned that this year. It's okay being bored. To that fact, people look at their phone or on their phone 4.5 hours a day on average. It's okay to have that thing away from you. If you're trying to be in a frame of mind of advancing a business, advancing a thought, doing something, to set down there that I decide what I want. I make my plan. I work my plan every single day. It's really those steps. Decide what you want, make a plan, work it every single day, and continue to do so. There's frustrations. We all run up across these hurdles, barriers, whatever, but hurdles in track aren't set there to stop you. They're made to be able to go over, right? The same thing happens in life. There's barriers, there's hurdles. Go over, go around, go under, go through, whatever it takes, right? Wit, whatever it takes is on the shirt. That's what I feel we do, and to encourage other people to look at it as well. You know, we sit down and I take an hour every day to educate myself. It's something that I enjoy doing because if there's something I don't know about or have no clue what to do to move it forward, I'm going to go do some type of search and find an educational piece that will advance me forward. I know last Thursday in the mastermind conversation, we talked about educating ourselves in micro doses. Like I sat down and I understand, okay, from Shuffle, what are we providing? Well, or Elify, what are we providing? We're providing a digital business card platform that allows for people to build landing pages, have campaigns, lead captures. We have QR codes and tap. You know, there's 4, 5, 6 different things right there. Well, to educate myself, to be able to have a conversation with somebody that happenstance I run across and bump on the sidewalk while we're talking or walking and end up having a conversation, and it comes down to what we do. We help people advance their business forward with these simple technologies, and knowing the metrics of digital business cards, physical business cards, why things can be better utilizing technology, why our application provides really micro technologies, because anyone can build a landing page here. I don't have to be an expert and go off and figure out that, you know, some landing page platforms cost hundreds or thousands of dollars to either have someone else create it for you or have some type of subscription. Campaigns, being able to say, hey, I can test out elements that I want to be able to get out to people this week compared to last week and see what advances it forward, or different platforms on social media. Lead capture. It's a trial and error. We talked about it on Friday. If I'm going to have a lead capture, where should I have it on the card? Should I have it as an optional or a mandatory pop-up? It's going to be dependent on who I'm sharing it with, how I'm sharing it, and ultimately when I'm sharing it. QR codes are some of the hottest things happening right now. And we know it based on what's happened the last few years in technology, to know that they've been around for as long as they have. And they're as relevant now as ever, the most seamless way to share information. And it doesn't matter what information that can be, you know, PDFs, flyers, videos, business cards, landing pages, whatever that is, can be utilized within the micro element that we provide within this application. And near field communication, NFC, tapping, being able to say, hey, I know here's an industry that's going to double in the next few years, and that people are looking for this technology all the time. I talked to a guy this weekend who he gets served ads, and he's like, where do I get this? Talk to him, say, you can get it from us. And there's so much more from our offering that can be utilized with it. It becomes second nature or a no-brainer to a lot of people when it's presented to them correctly. We internally also, our game plans, I mean, there's so many follow-ups that ER and I have throughout the week. There's so much time that's set. I mean, right now, just thinking prior to today, so yesterday I set my follow-up list, and I've got about a dozen follow-ups. And these are with new leads. These are with new potential partners. These are with new partners, and what that looks like in having those types of conversations. So I take my activity for the week, I make my plan, and I work it every day.
Guy, I want to talk just for a second while everybody's on here. And again, if you have questions, if you want to let us know what you want to achieve this week, if you need help achieving or setting up your plan, raise your hand or put it in the chat. We want to support you. And Guy, one of the things that I think is super supportive is this AMP acronym, right? Attitude, moment, process. And when we talk about making a plan and having our plan and executing the plan, when we get to a step in our plan that is, we're going to be working on X, Y, and Z. Maybe it's making a training video, or maybe it's making a follow-up phone call, or maybe it's working on building a new campaign that we want to test, etc. One of the biggest things that you can do is become laser focused on working that one element, about eliminating the distractions, you know what I mean, that might come out of the woodwork to diverge you from executing on your plan, and really getting and taking that time and prioritizing your time to focus only on accomplishing that one element that you're working on, right? And so when we talk about AMP, attitude, moment, process, right? You really have to be in that attitude. If you're doing something creative, whatever you have to do to get into your creative mind frame, right? If you're going to be doing your follow-up phone calls, whatever you have to do to prepare yourself to get ready to smile and dial, as they say, you know, any of those types of steps, there's an attitude that you need to be in the mind frame of, right? For that moment in time that you're going in to execute on your plan. And the attitude that you're in, maybe, again, to be creative might be different from when you're out there doing your prospecting or, you know, closing your customers, etc. And then just be laser focused, as they say, on that thing and run the process that you intended. Attitude, moment, and process. Everything has a process, right? If Guy is part of his plan might be working out for his physical activity, okay? He doesn't go to the gym and then open up a book, right? And he goes to the gym and he does the process of the workout, and he tries to eliminate any of those other distractions. You're not going to go over there and see him spending half the time at the gym talking with the other patrons at the gym, right? He's got his headphones on and he's doing his workout, you know, as an example. The same thing for you. Eliminate those distractions. This guy talked about, if you need to turn off your phone while you focus on building a card, or while you're out there doing some broadcast marketing or posts on social media, you do that. Guys, the world is not going to end in the 20 minutes that you're going to be out there laser focused on executing on the current activity because you didn't get that text alert or whatnot. You know what I mean? It'll be right there waiting for you when you pick it up. But the whole process can unravel if you're in the middle of something and your phone goes off and subconsciously you flip it over to look at it, and now you're distracted. So again, eliminate your distractions, know what you're working on, know what the process is for that thing that you're working on, and then just zone in and execute on the process. Get the work done. Hopefully you've allocated enough time to do that, right? Get the work done, check it off the list, and move on to the next thing. It's not that hard, but you know, Jeff, as I can see here, you know, things like topics of procrastination. Why don't we do those things? All of these little items that if we can overcome, we can start making more forward progress than we've ever made in our lives, guys.
I think to add to this procrastination, and, you know, we're hardwired, definitely we're hardwired for comfort, and understanding that success, advancement, moving forward is getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And knowing that that's part of this process. It's not always comfortable to pick up the phone. It's not always comfortable to jump on a Zoom, to go to a live event, to have conversations, to be the so-called extrovert or a trained extrovert, to have those types of conversations, but to be confident enough to have those. You know, there's so many people that live in the comfort zone, and they are the ones that wish and dream and have ideas, but a lot of times they overanalyze things. They start thinking way too hard, and instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick up the phone. I might stumble across this one, but I'm going to use this as a trial and error, a learning activity, and pick up the phone again. And you know what, if I missed out on this person this week, I'm going to try them again next week in a follow-up. and get a little more granular in my training or my education to know a little bit about what I'm talking about for whatever business it is or whatever opportunity that people are having those conversations about.
Well, Guy, you mentioned it. There's a time you block out every day, about an hour a day, to educate yourself. And I want everybody to think about that. So that's, out of all the hours that Guy has available every day, he's allocating a little bit of time for self-improvement or self-education, right? He doesn't spend 12 hours a day. He just allocates a little bit of time, a sizable micro chunk of time to learn. But it's the compounding effect over time. So think about that, right? He's not going to learn everything in that one instance on that one day. But as the course of a year goes on, at the end of a year, he's done approximately 365 hours of education. Now, ask yourself, would that be beneficial if you could pour into yourself 365 hours of education across maybe a broad range of topics that's going to help you professionally or personally or socially or physically, et cetera? And then think about that in every block of thing, right? The priority of activities that you're working on. If you spent an hour every day just prospecting, or maybe it's 30 minutes, and again, to Guy's point, getting started on that, it might feel like pulling teeth. It might be the one thing you want to procrastinate on. You know what I mean? But once you take action, and you have to have a hope and a belief that you can overcome that, be confident and execute on it. You might not have every single phone call end up in the perfect phone call, but you overcome that and you be consistent on it. And you do an hour today and an hour tomorrow and an hour the next day. And after 5 days, you've done 5 hours of it. And after 2 weeks, 10 hours. And after a month, 20 hours. Again, after a year, you're at tons and tons of hours, right? 200 hours of calls. Do you think that you're going to be able to perform better at calls a year from now than you would today if you got started on that and just incrementally ate that frog each day? That's really what it boils down to. If you say, I'm going to block out this little bit of time for these certain categories, and I'm going to focus on running the program or the process or the system for each of those categories. And we've talked about this before. We're going to be reviewing it, right? The wheel of life. What am I doing on a daily basis physically? What am I doing family-wise or mentally or financially or spiritually or for your career or for your personal? You want to have a balanced approach, and you can have incremental chunks in each of those categories. When we're talking about it here, a lot of it's focused on the financial and the career, rightfully so, right? We're all focused on entrepreneurship and business here. What are those areas within that slice of the pie that you're going to be diligently working on? Because the reality is, if you just join this call, guys, and you feel entertained by listening to Guy and I, each and every week, and you fail to put a plan down and take action on the plan, we're not achieving our goal here, right? Guy and I will get our plans accomplished. That's great. But our goal is to have you guys get your plans accomplished and to make the plan in a sizable enough chunk that you're confident that you're going to get it accomplished. If you've made your plan right now during the last 30 minutes that Guy and I have been talking, and you use this time to sort of be that idea generator of making your plan and blocking things out, and you look at your plan and your plan seems overwhelming, make it smaller. Again, do whatever it's going to take to allow you to take action on executing it. It will serve you no purpose if you create an elegant master plan but take zero action on moving forward on that plan. So as much as Guy and I want to come in here and say, here's what the perfect day looks like, or here's what the perfect plan looks like, or here's how you execute on each step of these plans. And we can talk about those. I love the idea of having a conversation about follow-up phone calls or prospecting conversations or lead generation. But the reality is you got to go out and take that action if you want to see the results of it, independent on what you're working on. Okay, Guy, we're about halfway through our allotted time, and I don't necessarily know if we need to spend the whole hour on here. I do want to open this up for anybody on the call who might have a question, a tip, a trick, something to add, a discussion about their plan. If you want us to hold you accountable this week, or if you want to let everybody know what your goal is to achieve this week, we are all ears on that, guys. Again, this is all for your benefit. So whatever's going to best help you guys out. Yeah, Jeff, go ahead.
There we go. How's that? So I was late to the call. And again, this is a good example for some of you in terms of priorities. It doesn't matter how big your plan is, but I'm going to share this quick story. My dog is barking I'm sitting at the computer, ready to dive in to the project that I'm working on. And the dog starts barking. Well, I can't let that continue. So again, it is an essential distraction. I have to deal with it. If you have a child or a baby or whatever, you got to deal, right? So I go out to the deck and I look out and there's my brand new next door neighbor who I haven't connected yet. I haven't had the hello face-to-face thing. we've been kind of coming and going, right? And he came from California and he's over here in Iowa. I don't know anything about him. And he's got his fishing pole. He's throwing it out. And my dog's barking at him, and I'm trying to I'm chasing my dog as I'm on the phone trying to set up an estate sale, and then he yells up, "Hey, how's it going?" And so then I gotta, and so it's one of those things. I took 10 minutes to have a friendly conversation about California, about where you're back. We connected. We learned that his mom was from my hometown, yada yada. Wow, yeah. That 10 minutes now. Some of you would say, "Well, Jeff, you should have stayed focused and stayed and not done it." Well, we're human beings, you guys. And so I have to tell myself, don't feel bad, Jeff, that I took time to connect with a neighbor that could become my longtime neighbor, friend, brother, whatever. And so I took that time, and then of course I get started again. Now my wife pulls in with groceries. Well, those of us that, lay the towel down over the puddle, I'm running out trying to help carry groceries in. I'm carrying the computer from one room to the next. So what I think I want to add to the thing today, guys, is that as focus, I got up this morning, I made my calls. I did all the yucky stuff that I didn't want to do. I made the schedules. I got my haircut scheduled for 5. I got a physical therapy appointment. I'm going to go re-sign up for the gym to start working my leg, yada, yada. I did all that junk that I didn't want to be distracted later in the day that my wife had on my to-do list. I set that over here, but then I took time to make a new friend, a new neighbor. And I'm not going to count that against me. I'm not going to beat myself up on that. So I think that's one thing we have to consider in this whole schedule and get as much done as you can in as little time, be efficient, is take time to look at what's around you. 2 kids just drove by. I'm going to take a moment to watch 2 kids enjoying themselves, but I still have to stay focused. The needle only goes one direction. And so that information that I shared in the chat, you guys, if you haven't seen the chat, that's not me. That I got that from, I think it was a TED Talk. And I took 3 quick snaps because we are hardwired to hit the comfort button, the easy button, right? But we're not, but our soul, our internal will is trying to achieve more, to do more, to be more. But what gets in the way is the fact that the NBA game is on or the French Open final. I can't miss that. So I get in my couch and I get I don't do what I'm supposed to do because I want to enjoy life. So that's how we're hardwired, but we have to realize that that's in conflict. And so again, I think balance and judgment is what I'm trying to inspire in this little bleep of a conversation. So I'll shut up now. And what do you guys think about that?
Look, I think it's important. Balance is the number one thing, guys, right? We can stay laser focused on just one area and be extremely successful in that area while other things fall by the wayside. Balance is going to be very important. I think the other thing is, and I mentioned this earlier, again, we've heard from Mindset of a Champion, we don't necessarily manage our time, we prioritize it. So Jeff, to your point, as long as you know what you need to do when you're working on an item, and then where that item falls in prioritization, you can be in a state of flux. And we've talked about, you don't want to be so granular that you're like, I'm trying to manage my day 15 minute increments at a time. You're trying to say, I need to get stuff in this category, in this category, in this category, in this category completed We've even talked about like having this sort of flex of about 40% because the chaos of life, to Jeff, what you're talking about is going to happen, right? The dogs are going to be barking. The wife's going to come home with groceries and need help. The neighbor who you haven't met yet is going to be out there. And again, you're weighing your priorities. So it's okay to be in that state of flux and say, hey, something higher priority came along. I've been intending to go out and meet my neighbor, or it's more important that I help my wife really quick and then come back to this task. And I think that that's all 100% spot on. You know what I mean? We have to understand priority, but also we have to understand priority from what we want to accomplish. To Jeff's point, right? Is it a higher priority that you make forward progress on your goals for your financial success or your career success, or you entertain yourself with the game that's on? That's the struggle of priority that we might be talking about, where we all need to be very diligent about saying, man, I would really love to pacify myself with entertainment, watch this game I've been thinking about, but I really need to focus over here on that. And if I get this done in time, then my reward would be finishing up the last half of the game or whatnot. Where I think people tend to get in trouble is they prioritize their comfort, to what Jeff was talking about, over what Guy was talking about, where, guys, growth is going to have some pain, right? I think about it from the working out side of things. If you want your muscles to grow, you actually have to tear them by working out. There's pain involved that comes back in rebuilding. And it's the same thing with any of these other things. There's going to be some force of friction or pain in picking up the phone and calling people, especially if that's not a task that you enjoy, or going out to an event and networking with people if that's not a task that you enjoy. But you have to prioritize the value and the outcome of completing that thing in lieu of some other item that you could be participating in. Because if we just prioritized our comfort, which is traditionally, I think, what happens, we end up just sort of sitting back and not accomplishing anything because we want to do that pain avoidance type of thing. So I think one of the things that we can all benefit from is when you make that list of all the things that you want to do or need to do or have to do, you circle the priorities, or you put numbers next to them and you say, these are the most important ones. And then, I think the last thing, Jeff, that you commented on that I think a lot of us here would be raving fans about is knocking some of the most important things out first. As they say, sort of eat that frog, right? Moment you get up in the morning, what is the highest priority thing that you could knock out? Okay, don't wait until the end of the day and then some other thing comes up that you prioritize more and it sort of goes by the wayside. If you say this is the most important thing, and I would encourage everybody, pick 3 things every single day that you can do that with, right? It's my lead generation, it's my prospecting, and it's my customer close calls. Those 3 things are the number one things I need to work on every day. Or maybe for some of us, it's health related, right? I need to do my gratitude, my yoga, and my activity first thing in the morning. Otherwise, I'll never get it done. Identify what that is for yourself. And it's going to be unique to each of us. Nobody's saying this is the order of operation you have to be following. It's you that are setting those priorities, but be super realistic about it. Understand and highlight, even if you can proactively, what are things you might be procrastinating about? Put a P next to that. Oh man, that's a high priority activity that I might procrastinate on. Okay, that means, and there have been times, Guy, right? You and I call each other up. Hey, bud, I need to get this thing knocked out. So I'm not doing anything until this item is checked off the list. Guys, you can do that for yourself. If there's that one item that you see has got a circle around it as a top priority and a P next to it, procrastination, and you found it sitting on your list for 3 days in a row, 5 days in a row, 2 weeks in a row, guess what? That is the big flashing sign that says, hold up, this is the next item that you need to do and you need to get knocked out. And then when you get it knocked out, it's almost like the monkey's off your back and you can go on to the next priority item and the next priority item. I think that's a big thing is we look at priorities and we look at the action we need to take on them. And Jeff, to your point, we sort of try as much as possible not to procrastinate on those things. And if we are self-identify that that's going on.
Yeah. Hey, if I could add to that, I stepped out of my comfort zone big time yesterday. Can I share?
Please.
And this will go along with the QR codes. And it's like I had too much to focus on, because if you guys have ever tried anything new, let's say that you've never done a marathon, or you've never done any task. Well, for me, I've always, when I was 16, I had a Mustang, right? And I've always been to car shows with my cousin and uncle, all that. So I kind of know that culture and I love it. But I've never had, I've always had cars that were for tasks, right? My pickup and all that. Well, recently, and I'll be happy to post it in the thing, I got myself a 15-year-old pristine Mustang convertible. And I said to my cousin, nobody was around. And I was like, I'm going to do a car show. And I'd never done it before. I didn't know how to register. I didn't know how to, like, where do you put your car? What do you do when you're there? I was Joe Clueless. And I thought, you know what? It's kind of fun to be Joe Clueless instead of just going to like things that I'm comfortable with. So I took my car down. I was nervous as like a kid and going to first grade for the first day. I missed where to put my car. I was I felt like the stupidest guy in the whole place, right? Finally got my spot, got my car. I was the guy, I had all these instructions and do this and go do that and go vote for, and I was like, my head was spinning. But I finally settled down, got it figured out, and I enjoyed the day. Well, QR code wise, I'm thinking, my car sat there all day with hundreds of people walking by. All I got to do for the next car show is what? I learned from my first experience. Why wouldn't I put a little landing page, just entrepreneurial ? Put a QR code. Looking to lose 5 pounds, whatever the thing is. I'm just thinking for you guys. And I'm going to put that QR code right smack on my Mustang convertible and let people come up with their cameras. So anyway, it's my fun little story of stepping out of my comfort zone and doing something that I freaking didn't think I'd ever do. And I did it all by myself. And then I got a great idea for Elify all at the same time. So not a bad day.
Yeah, I love the story, and thanks for sharing it, Jeff. I mean, I think we can all think about different uses, right? I could even see that you put all the data on your car, on its own card, right? Like, what's the engine? What have you modified? How long did the build take, etc.? What is the paint color? All of these things when you go to a car show. I've done that before. I've done that when I went to, again, I'm a VW enthusiast, right? So I take my camper van to the VW car show, pop it up, and then somebody would scan the QR code and they could see all of the stuff that I've done to modify and build out this van. Then I used the card to sell the van. I took all of that stat stuff and then put the pricing and stuff like that and would post it different places. And then to your point, anybody who's out there, your car is essentially a mobile billboard. You should consider putting some type of QR code to advertise you, your brand, your business. No different than the guy who's doing the plumbing or the landscaping or the roofing might have a big truck with a phone number, a URL, a QR code, etc. Everybody has the potential to do that. And Jeff, to your point, when you have an audience of passersby, that's a perfect opportunity for you to use a mobile billboard. Lastly, in that, also, guys, there could be some tax advantages or benefits there if you're using a personal vehicle as an advertisement, where you might be able to, and again, check with your legal or tax advisor, write off a portion of your mileage or write off a portion of your auto payment because you're using it as a marketing mechanism by posting QR codes or little stickers on it. So I love that story. And the final thing I want to pull out of what Jeff, you said, because I think this is the critical part. It's doing something new. And I want to focus on that for the last minute of this and then throw it out for anybody else here. But doing something new. I think about this in everything. My daughter is learning how to swim. She's doing something new, right? There's this hesitation to get into the pool. There's this unknown, how do I hold my hands and how do I kick my feet and how do I float? Doing something new. And then there's a learning curve that comes along with it, with everything new that you do. Same thing with riding a bike. Same thing with going to your first car show. Same thing with starting a business for the first time, or going out and networking for the first time, or following up with prospects for the first time. Everybody who's hearing this, the first time you do something new, It is hard. It is scary. It is challenging, right? Sometimes we don't want to do it because it's fearful. We have the fear of success or the fear of failure, but it's all new and we don't know what to expect. But then once we go down that force of friction and we actually do it, Jeff, to your point, maybe it doesn't work out perfect. Maybe in hindsight, you come back and you see an opportunity to improve a little bit. Next time I'm going to put a QR code here. Next time I'm going to do this. Awesome. The awesome part is next time you've gotten over that initial force of friction and you've done it. Then you do it again and you do it again and you do it again. In sports, we call this practice. You know what I mean? And you keep practicing continually so that when you go to execute in game time, it doesn't feel new. It feels like second nature. Some of these things should be subconscious, right? So it's getting that initial ball rolling of something new. I would tell everybody, it's okay to do new things. And it's okay to think about doing new things, like thinking about learning to ride a bike. If you continue on with it and you continue to practice it, you will improve at it and it will become second nature. But we all have to, at one point or another, at least get on the bike and start to go forward, you know? And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I see, Jeff, is a lot of people, like business in general, you know, registering a business. If you've never done it, it seems like this gargantuan activity. I got to go to the Secretary of State. I got to deal with the IRS for EINs. I got to go to the bank. Like, what's going on and what all do I do? But after you've done it a few times, you realize it's like a 30-minute procedure through all three places and, you know, $10 worth of investment. So again, the new things are only new until we do them, right? Or they're only hard until we learn them. Okay, guys, anybody else out there have any other needs or anything like that? I think we've seen some great chat dialogue. Everybody know what they want to achieve this week?
I think to be specific to your question, Jay, about the videos and some of the hurdles and barriers that you come up against, we understand that that we can chase rabbits down multiple holes, yep. and that's you know, both a
blessing and a curse.
Exactly, a blessing and a curse that we have. The times that happens to be a gift of gab from the micro education things that we're really leaning into is those micro training videos are a dedication that we have. You know, they fall into an hour time frame a day or maybe a couple hours a week that we can focus and get those specifically done and not overthink it and not think of all the other ways of doing it. If you want to specifically know how to build a card on your mobile device, that will be the video, and that will be the dead stop end of that video. You know, I mentioned it at the very beginning. Decide what you want, make your plan, work it every single day. And when looking at results, if you have bad results or no results, keep working. Mm-hmm. If you have great results, keep working. Consistency is going to be your key. So understanding that I'm going to keep putting one foot in front of the other. I'm going to continue to fail my way forward, because that's one of the things that I think we all learn in life is success. Being on the mountaintop, it takes failure to reach that. You learn, in our sports backgrounds, we learned a lot more from a loss than we learned from a win. From a win, at times you can overlook things. Maybe we skated by, we got away, we got something that wasn't sound, we got away with. But when you really start analyzing the things that I may have had a downfall in or a failure at that point, I adjust, I course correct, and I keep moving forward until I reach what I deem success for me. Hopefully everyone does the same for themselves. It's a trial and error life that we live in. If we don't take those steps, if we don't do certain activities, we're going to be stuck in our comfort zone, and we're going to be stuck where we always have been. And just getting rid of mental blocks, maybe that's an hour or 10 minutes of meditation or gratitude. Those different types of things are elements that can be utilized to help me get past my mental blocks or a procrastination state.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, again, we say the same things in different packages every single week, guys, but it boils down to the same common core attributes, right? Make the plan, prepare to execute your plan, and you'll make forward progress. And I think, again, getting started, taking action, and being relentlessly consistent over time are going to be the keys to being successful in anything you set out to accomplish. Yeah, Jeff, go ahead.
It just, Guy, thanks, because I've got an idea. And again, you guys it's a small group here. And so what I was thinking is, the challenge or the accountability, which I need that right now at this moment. So I'm making a suggestion that's going to help Jeff. And if it helps those of you want to join on the bandwagon, here's my idea. Today is Monday, right? I just typed in the chat. I haven't hit send yet. My one thing that I'm promising, committing, not a resolution, a commitment. I don't believe in resolutions. I believe in commitments.
Yep.
So it's a little scary that I'm like doing this, but I'm doing it because I need to hold my hand to the fire. I've got some great stuff ready to go. I just haven't got over the finish line. And so I have put down something in the chat that I am committing to you guys. And then you can beat me up a week from today if I haven't completed it, and you can give me a little, hand clap. So is there one thing? So it might be anything like ordering that package, that weight loss package, which only takes 5 minutes, or it could be something that takes longer, but whatever. I'm going to hit the button right now. I just put it in the chat. And so I put my one task. So if it's maybe you've been holding off on attending something or signing up for something or doing something, that's my challenge. So let's have a little mini challenge again. You can call it Jeff's Crazy Challenge today.
Well, and Jeff, while everybody's thinking about what their one thing is, I wanted to take a minute here and ask you about some of those things. But going ahead, I think you had a few other things to add. Go ahead.
That's it. I'm doing this because I need you guys to help me have accountability. And I have been, I don't want to use the word failing, but I've been bizarrely procrastinating in my progress, but it's not the progress that is completion. And I need completion. I'm meeting with partners today. We're going to do our LLC. We're going to the bank.
Oh.
Those things are pressing me. And I don't want that negative pressure of, oh my gosh, I'm meeting with the other partners. I want this support group to say, Jeff, we get it. We've been there, done it. In a week from now, we want to applaud each other for doing one thing. And if we don't do it, we'll say, hey, well, why? What held you back? What was your biggest obstacle? And then Guy in ER maybe have some input. That gives you guys some ammunition maybe for the call next week to then say, okay, it sounds to me like, and then just go through the list of who's on the call or who watches the replay to say, listen, I'm going to show up next week. And then maybe in the group, you can put that in the larger group to say, my commitment this week is this one thing. And and it's easy.
And guys, okay, so think about this. What do you want to achieve this week? As you just heard from Jeff, he's got his on there, complete his video sales letter, show and share shuffle to as many people at Wednesday Mixer as I can in an hour. Okay, Shelly, my only feedback on this is be absolute and specific. As many people, let's pick a number, 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. And I agree, we'll follow up to see how you are after Wednesday, but now you have an intentional thing. And guys, when you're picking this one thing, pick your priority thing. Jeff, there's a reason why Jeff wants to complete the video sales letter, right? I mean, he could say run around the block, but he chose video sales letter. And think about this, guys, on the activity that what you're going to achieve this week. Also think about what or how you're going to feel once you get that thing marked off the list. I can already sense from Jeff that he has had completing the video sales letter on his list for maybe longer than he would like to have had it on his list. And man, there's going to be this feeling of a sense of accomplishment, maybe a sense of pride when he gets that completed, right? He's meeting up with his partners. He's going to be able to show them the video sales letter. They're going to start to be able to leverage the video sales letter. There are these resulting things that are going to come from the use of the video sales letter. So build that around that idea of the one thing that you want to accomplish or achieve this week. And then hold yourself accountable. Now, what Jeff's going to need to do, and he's already done this, I know, but again, you're going to want to do the same thing. What does completing the video sales letter look like? What steps are required to complete the video sales letter? Maybe even an idea of time that needs to be allocated or blocked out. Maybe Jeff says it's going to take me 5 hours to complete the video sales letter. Then Jeff's got to be thinking about, when am I going to get these 5 hours in? Am I going to allocate an hour every day over the next week, and by Friday it's going to be done? Am I going to do 2.5 hours today and 2.5 hours tomorrow? Is tomorrow going to be the day I just put in 5 hours and knock this thing out? He's going to make a plan about completing the video sales letter and work backwards from that and then execute on it. And then what's going to be great is we're going to come back on Friday or Monday and we're going to get a status check. And the same thing for each of you, whether you're sharing this with us as a group or not, we want to hold you accountable. What do you want to achieve this week? Put that down. Make your plan to achieve that one thing and make sure it's something you can achieve in a week. If Jeff says, I need to finish the video sales letter, but I haven't started and it's probably 80 hours worth of work, it's different than Jeff saying, look, I'm 80% of the way there and I just need to knock it 20% over the finish line. Again, we want to be strategic about this stuff with what we're picking on the action or activity we want to achieve this week. And then we want to be laser focused on that thing. Again, if you just did this as the methodology, in a year, you'd have 52 major activities done. But what you're going to realize is just by doing this process and knowing that it helps, you're going to find that you're going to do not just one action or activity a week, you're going to do a series of them. And you're going to get to doing like 3 of them a day at some point, right? Think about that. You'd have 15 big items taken care of every week. How many would you have in a year? We want to get into this methodology of identifying important items, making that plan, and executing on the plan. That's what sprint planning is all about. So Jeff, I really appreciate you laying it out there. I really appreciate you letting us as a community hold you accountable on this. And I think we're all going to benefit better for it, including Jeff, because he's going to have an awesome video sales letter done. And maybe you'll have something to show everybody as well, as a little bit of show and tell, because I think we could all benefit from, again, seeing what a good video sales letter looks like. So guys.
Hey, I have something to say. I'm driving, but what I want to accomplish this week is my QR card in the back of me. I've been procrastinating and I put my QR card up, sharing my business.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. Again, something that's completely achievable. Brenda, I know you can get that done this week. I have 100% confidence in you achieving that this week. Same thing with the 100% confidence that I have in Jeff. Okay. And you're going to get that done and you're going to feel more empowered after you get that done. And you're going to identify the next one and the next one. And it's going to start to build momentum. And here's the reality. If you're going down the path of working towards that and you have any type of hardship, you have a community that you can reach out to for help and for guidance. And Brenda, I'm going to tell you right now, if you need help with that QR code or that tab stuff or anything you're working on, the same thing for anybody in the community, put that into the Facebook groups or reach out to us as individuals. We're here to support each other. So great one. Danon, love it. Okay. I mean, again, it's achievable. Add a QR code to your background. That's something that should not take you more than an hour to take care of creating that image on Canva or whatever you want to do. I know you can do it. Okay. We're going to hold you accountable for this and getting that background image. So hopefully by Friday with the founders, you're going to be joining us with your own QR code in the background, brother. And if you need help, you let us know. Again, guys, this is how it works, right? We can all hold each other accountable. Pick your one action item. What are you going to achieve this week? Put that down. And if you need us as a community to hold you accountable, we're going to hold you accountable,
I'll put one out there.
Guys.
I'm going to put one out there. Really, ER is the only one that can be accountable to it because it's an action that he also has to take with me. But then the accountability is going to be something that new referrals, new signups are going to see. So we have a new email sign up flow to go through. It's done. We just have to review it and give any additional adjustments to our design team, to our the copyright, to make sure that, I believe it's 8 emails will be dripped to new signups, and to make sure that it's linking specifically where it needs to go. It's all we have to do is review it and give it the go ahead and make sure the development implements it. So here's our dedication: is we will get through those emails. Yep. We'll get it revised. We'll get it up and going. And by this time next week, new signups will be seeing a new email series. It's branded a little bit different. It has more of the pastel color look feel that you're seeing on our social platforms. So we will dedicate to that. There's other things that we have to dedicate to ourselves internally to get knocked off and get done. I know videos are things that are in the process of getting produced right now. To know that we're going to be as authentic as possible in each and every one of these little videos, because we also know that a version 3 is coming and that videos will be changing. So you're going to get us, it may be fumbling through it. It's going to be a guerrilla-esque video that's going to be specific to each little element. They'll be tied into our FAQs. So those are things that dedication, the next couple weeks will be provided as well. I've got a shorter week this week, ER, and I've already discussed that. But making sure that we get these out there, speaking it, saying it, these are things that we are going to get done and will get done for the benefit of every one of you.
Love it. I'm committed to that as well, guys. So we will make that out and hopefully be able to have something to show and tell for everybody as well. All right, guys. Well, here's the reality. Make it a great week. Danon, I see your hand just popped up. Go ahead.
Yes. My question is, I made a card. I connected it to my domain. I want to, but it was actually made in the mobile builder. So I want to take the domain off and put it on a desktop build, on a desktop builder.
Sure.
Would there be a problem with, I mean, the only thing that I could see that would be the problem is when people go to the domain, then they'll be going to my desktop builder, and my mobile builder, I would have to just send out individually. Is that right?
Correct. And all you'll need to do is you'll grab your desktop built link and you'll go over to the registrar where you updated the redirect on your domain, and you'll just put in that new link. That's all you need to do.
Okay, but so it won't have no more connection to the mobile link.
Correct. You can only use that redirect to one card at a time. Yep, right. You got it. Okay, guys, well, make it a great week this week. We've got Tech Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central tomorrow. On Thursday at 10 a.m., we'll do a roundtable discussion. And on Friday, we'll have Friday with the founders. Again, what do you want to achieve this week? Let's make a plan to achieve that. Let's work diligently and be relentlessly consistent on working towards those weekly goals. And let's celebrate our forward progress and victory together as we each accomplish action items. So that's the key, guys. What are you going to accomplish this week? Let's make it happen. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week. We'll see you guys on the next call. Take care.